Welcome to 12 Minutes or Less with the Author. I'm your host, T.L. Brown, but you can call me Tracy. Let's get started. Welcome. Today we have Brian Bateman on the podcast. Brian is a former stay-at-home dad and a comedy writer for Gary Burbank on 700 WLW radio in Cincinnati, Ohio. He and author Jennifer-Brasington Crowley partnered on a writing project, and together they released a fantastic horror novel called Ghost Writer. 5 stars. And this is also really cool. Brian also leads historic home and ghost tours of his house on TikTok. I'll provide more details at the end of the show, and there will be links in the description below. So welcome, Brian. It is so great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. Let's get right to the questions because I am dying to know these answers.
Let's do it.
I loved Ghostwriter. I read it when it came out. This novel, you worked on it with author Jennifer-Brasington Crowley. Can you tell us briefly about the house that inspired this book?
Yeah. So my wife and I are empty nesters. We always loved older homes. And my wife found this home in Fort Worth, Texas, and brought me into the house. And right when I walked into the home, I felt this immediate connection for some reason. I've never felt the feeling that I had when I walked in the door. I felt this warm, kind, loving energy that I felt like this was like my house. Not deja vu, but almost. It was that kind of, feeling. And so I told her, I'm like, yeah, this is it. And this is before I knew about the people who passed away in the home. So after we moved in, my dog wouldn't sleep in his dog bed in our bedroom, which was very unusual because he had no problem sleeping in his dog bed in our other homes. We had lived with him. So we knew something was weird right off the start. And since we've lived here, which has been over 2 years now, we've heard whispers. My wife heard the voice of a man. TVs turn on and off in the home. Things move on their own in the home, and animal behaviors. Definitely, the animals act strangely every now and then, so you can kind of know when it happens that something is around. So we've actually had the house investigated 4 times by a paranormal husband and wife team out of Burleson, Texas, and a psychic medium who I didn't believe at first, but she nailed something so specific in the second investigation that I was like, my wife and I, our jaws dropped, and we're like, wow. Yeah. So anyway, so I started researching the history of the home. And as you said, I was a writer for Gary Burbank in Cincinnati when I was a stay-at-home dad, and I just had an absolute passion for that job. It was amazing, and I was good at it. It was fun, and being a stay-at-home parent to have a side gig was always a great thing too. But anyway, Gary retired in 2007, and that's the year I got this 4-leaf clover tattoo on my wrist because I figured at that point in my life I needed luck to get another amazing job like that, which never came. But also, I'm lucky to be a stay-at-home dad because I could be going to a nine to fiver, but I'm making, pancakes and watching SpongeBob, so not a bad gig, right? But anyway, so we come to this house. I feel connected. I start researching the history of the home, and I find out that 5 people passed away in the house. Specifically, I'll go to the third person who passed because he inspired this whole book. His name was Harold Monroe. He was a former writer for the Fall River News in Massachusetts, where he actually used to see Lizzie Borden as an older woman being taunted by school children. Doing the old Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks chant. He actually saw that happen. And yeah, I mean, it kind of blows your mind.
That's bizarre. Wow.
He was born in 1905, so he grew up in Fall River. Then he went to the New York Times for 5 years. He actually broke the story that DuPont invented nylon in 1939. That was his claim to fame at the New York Times. Then he went to the Denver Post, the San Francisco Chronicle, and ended up here in Fort Worth writing for the Star Telegram for many years until his passing in my family room on St. Patrick's Day, 1977. Gotcha. And I found out at 11:11 p.m. So when I specifically found out about him, I'm like, this is not a coincidence. And I told you I already felt connected to the home, like something pulled me here. So then I found out about the other 4 people as well who passed away. The first person to pass away in the home was in our bedroom on January 18th, 1914. His name was Elisha Morford. He was a former Union soldier for the Indiana 68th Regiment, specifically Company C. The next person to pass away, also we think in our bedroom, was Her name was Anna Lubbock Kennedy. She was a daughter of the Republic of Texas because Anna was born in 1844 when Texas was still a republic. And if you know the name Lubbock, it's because her dad was Thomas Lubbock, who the town Lubbock, Texas is named for. Well, Thomas Lubbock co-founded Terry's Texas Rangers, who offered up their services to Jefferson Davis to fight for the Confederates in the Civil War. And they did battling Elisha Morford's Indiana 68 at the Battle of Chickamauga, which is the second bloodiest battle in the Civil War. Then we had Harold pass St. Patrick's Day. His wife passed on Halloween 2009 in the family room. And where I'm sitting right now, her boyfriend, who moved in about a decade after Harold passed away right here on February 3rd, 2023. We moved in February 4th, 2024. Dog wouldn't sleep in the bedroom, and here we are.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of history there.
Yes.
And a lot of history that definitely fed this book
Yes.
and the stories. You and the author Jennifer-Brasington Crowley, you guys knew each other before Ghostwriter was conceived.
Yes.
What was it like to collaborate on a fictional project based on real life events?
I loved it. I don't know if Jen loved me so much every time because, my brain goes to a lot of weird places. And she took my Ted Kaczynski manifesto mind and was able to put it into a book that people could actually comprehend. So it was amazing working with her. We didn't even have a story. We had nothing. I just kind of had an idea. I said, this needs to be something. And I'm not a writer, like an author, which I have huge respect for independent authors, by the way, now, after going through this
Awesome.
whole process. It's a lot of work. But she took the research that I did, and then she just crafted it into an even darker tale, if that's possible, because this is based off of 3 true crimes on my street. Very close, by the way, and she did a wonderful job. I hope that she agrees to do the second one, because in real life she does not like scary stuff, and in real life I don't like to read, so we were a perfect team.
I love it. I love it. And I've read, I mean, you can't see it probably, but I've got a lot of Jennifer's books behind me.
Yeah,
She's a fantastic writer.
haunted.
So let's talk about the future. We'd love to know more about any current or next project that you are working on. What's coming up?
So I've been well, right now I'm promoting Ghostwriter, but I'm also researching for the next book. And the next book is going to simply take place on the street behind me. So this book is inspired by my house and the 3 true crimes on my street. The next book is inspired by a home on the corner where a guy possibly spontaneously combusted in 1930. And then 3 true crimes on that street, which unfortunately I have multiple ones to pick from. And it just seems to be a weird, it's like a formula now. It's a haunted house and 3 true crimes. And I'm just going to go street to street to street because every street in this neighborhood has such dark history. It's like just so inspirational as a creative type. And then throwing it to Jen, she just does her magic with it and makes it, historical fiction horror. So it's inspired by multiple true stories all on the same street.
Wow. Well, we cannot wait for that. So, Brian, that's all the time we have for today. Um, Thank you for coming on the show. And I want our listeners to know where to find you. On social media, you will find Brian on Instagram and TikTok as Ghost Writer House, and I'll have the links below. Give him a follow, and remember that he does those historical home and ghost tours on TikTok, and there will even be times down below that he does that. So check that out. That's really awesome. Also, exciting news. I hear an audiobook of Ghost Writer is coming, so stay tuned for that announcement as well. Down below, you'll also find a direct link to Ghost Writer on Amazon. And right now, it's in Kindle Unlimited too. So, Brian, thank you for making time and coming on today's show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. All right, listeners, that's all we have for today. And stay tuned because we got more great content coming up for you. And till then, I'll see you the next time. This has been 12 Minutes or Less with the Author. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Hope you can join me for the next one. Until then, this is Tracy, aka Author T.L. Brown, signing off.